Hello, welcome back to another lesson in Vedic astrology. In this video, I'm going to talk on the effects of Saturn if it is placed in the 5th house. Before getting on with the video, I would like to tell you that we can have 12 different types of Saturn in the 5th house. You may wonder how. Just consider if a person is born in Aries ascendant and has Saturn in the 5th. Then you can have Taurus ascendant and Saturn is in Virgo, which is also the 5th house. You can have Gemini ascendant with Saturn being in Libra, which is also the 5th house. So you can go on like this and you can reach the last sign, the last lagna, Pisces, and you can have Saturn in Cancer. All these horoscopes have Saturn in the 5th. And as you rightly guess, the effects will be different because Saturn is not in the same place each time. So that is the most important aspect whenever you read the effects of planet in different houses. For example, if you refer a book or even if you refer 10-15 books, it doesn't matter. It will always say Saturn in the 5th has certain effects. But in some other place of the same textbook, you will find that if Saturn is in own sign, then it does good. Then if it is exalted, it does good. And if Saturn is debilitated, it will give you bad effects. So all that will alter the result of Saturn being in the 5th house. So this is a very important aspect. Not only that, if Saturn is with another bad planet, like for example Rahu or say Mars or the Sun or any of these malefics, it just adds on to the problem that we expect if Saturn is in the 5th house. Saturn in the 5th house is not very good because the 5th house is a creative house and Saturn does not like creativity. It just likes things to go according to the routine, the monotonous, etc. It is very slow and creative people are very fast. They can come up with ideas very quickly. So it's just the opposite of that. And one of the things that even non-creative people can create is children, and Saturn in the 5th house also puts a block or if severely afflicted denies a person the precious gift of a child. So whether a person's creativity is affected or not, or if a person having Saturn in the 5th house has other problem, these are not as important to the society as much as the gift of children. So in this video, I'll be focusing more on the aspect of children. Maybe in a later video, I might take up some other issues arising out of Saturn being in the 5th house. Now, in this case, I have taken Aries as the ascendant, and there's many reasons for selecting this. I may have selected the lagna here and put Saturn here, or the lagna here and Saturn here, which is what I told you in the beginning of this video. But in this you can see that I have selected maybe one of the most challenging situations, because for this lagna or Aries lagna or Mesha lagna people, Saturn is the number one malefic, occupies Leo. So this house belongs to Sun, and Saturn and Sun, they're enemies, and so Saturn does not like to be in this zone called Leo or Simha Rasi. So we can say that Saturn is afflicted by being here. He doesn't like this place. So Saturn here in the 5th house usually denies children, but sometimes it may be delayed children also, because Saturn has the quality of delaying things and not giving it up, at the time when you want it. So, or the person who's born in this combination might want to delay the birth of children using family planning. Sometimes they choose not to have children, and when there are other cases when they want a child, they simply are not blessed with a child despite going to doctors, etc. The problem can increase if maybe the Sun is here, or for example Rahu is also here. It can just multiply. It's not just adding on to the problem. Whenever a malefic influences an already afflicted planet, then it really gets very negative or challenging. One important matter pertaining to Saturn being in the 5th house is that Saturn always looks at the 3rd house from itself. So this is the 7th house and Saturn looks here. So even if Saturn is not occupying this house, Saturn will be looking at this house, and this house is the house of marriage. This house is marriage, this house is children. So if Saturn occupies the 5th house, it blocks children and it blocks marriage. So that most people having this combination will have late marriage. Maybe they get married after 30. In most cases, if they are men, women, maybe according to the society they live in, according to the nation, always find that they don't get married at the time when most people around them get married. So that is the actual definition of delayed marriage. And this is the 3rd house aspect. And like all other planets, Saturn looks at the 7th from itself, which is this is the 11th house. As you can see here, desires. So a person gets married only usually mostly only if there is a desire to get married. So the desire is also blocked. So even if they want to get married, it can get late. But they work together because usually children are born after marriage. So Saturn here delays children, delays marriage, and delays the fulfillment of desires. And Saturn looks at the 10th from itself, which is this house. How do you count this? Saturn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Saturn's 10th house aspect, Saturn's 7th house aspect, and Saturn's 3rd house aspect. These are the 3 aspects that Saturn has. The 10th house aspect falls in the 2nd house, and this is family.